Hello, good evening, everyone. Um, Thank you to our sustainability committee members for coming out for our meeting, our September meeting after a summer hiatus. And thank you to the public who's watching this later, as well as happy Rosh Hashanah in advance to any of the members both on this committee and as well as any members, any residents in the village of Rybrook who are of Jewish faith. I know we have several, and a good number of Jewish residents. So again, happy Rosh Hashanah to all of you guys. And so I'm definitely excited to kick off our September meeting, and I'll turn it over to our chair, Bridget Dix.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so it looks like, Greg, on the agenda, it looks like we were starting with old business. I don't know if you want to go over the Sustainable Westchester program or get
I'll
started
do
with
that.
that,
That
or
one
maybe
will
we'll
take a little
skip
bit
till the end.
longer. Yeah, we
Okay.
can skip that one for now.
Okay, then quickly, we're going to talk about the butterfly garden. So I know it is on Rosh Hashanah. Unfortunately, it was just the only day that we could schedule to do it. So it is going to be this Saturday, and it's going to be from 9 to 11. If anybody can join, that'd be amazing. We're going to be touching up and replanting some plants there because it's looking a little bit crazy right now and overgrown. So it really needs to be maintained. So we're going to be doing that on a Saturday in the morning. So if anybody wants from the public or teenagers, whoever wants to join, more than welcome to. Okay. Uh, Also, we were contacted by Portchester Sustainability. They asked if we'd want to do a fall seed swap. I said yes. Let me just take a look at the date that they
I think it was
suggested.
October 14th is what you told me.
October 14th. And so that is a Saturday at the library again. It's been popular last time, so it should hopefully be popular again. So another event, if anybody wants to take part in that, more than welcome to. And we'll be collecting seeds and giving out free seeds. Same format as before, so kind of what's expected. And hopefully we'll get an even bigger turnout this time, and maybe we'll be able to get a speaker. I know they were trying to get somebody to do like a little talk, but I don't think they've secured the person yet. So they're hoping to do that. But if you guys have any suggestions of people, then feel free. I can give them that info.
And I'll just chime in real quick regarding when we do the seed swaps. Again, I reach out to the library. They're great. So it's now that we've done it a few times, they know the drill. And the last time we did in April, it did unfortunately rain, but the benefit about using the library is that they have an indoor space that we can use. So of course, we're hoping for good weather, but it's not the end of the world if we don't. And I said it does do very well. Even when it rained, we still had quite a few people that came. And
Yeah.
it's definitely a good event that we do to give away these seeds as well as educate people who are just sometimes just walking down the street and they just see us and they stop by and ask, like, what are you guys doing? I personally don't know much about seeds. Again, Bridget and you guys are the experts. But it's definitely something, it gets a lot of foot traffic at the location that we have now at the library. So it's definitely something that we want to keep utilizing. We're definitely thankful for the library for allowing us to continue using their space. Bridget, I think that the county legislator just came on. So I just want to defer to her a second. How are you doing, County Legislator Barr?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule. It's my understanding from your assistant, Ms. Friedman, that you would like to talk to us about the upon request legislation that just recently made its way through the legislature.
Yes, I do. Well, so I know that we, oh dear, this is not what I wanted. I'm just fixing my view here. Apologize.
No worries, take your time.
Okay. Yeah, so I believe that I talked to you guys about it when it first passed through the legislature. But in any event, now it is in effect. It went into effect September 2nd. And it's probably still going to take a while for the businesses to, get it up and running. But basically, they're supposed to post a sign that says that, customers have to request whatever kinds of utensils and condiments and things that they want when they're ordering to take out. And the county has produced a poster that they can just print off the county website. But we're also translating it into Spanish and some other languages, and we're not quite there yet. So If you happen to be going around and to any restaurants or takeout places or any of the many places we have to eat here in Rybrook, and you can see if they've got, if they've got the sign, if they know that, this is in effect now. It doesn't get, they will not be fined for another 6 months. So there's 6 months for them to sort of get it together and, get rid of some of the things that they have that might not comply. So for example, just a reminder, no plastic splash sticks, no plastic stirrers, and none of those little packs of plasticware that are all together bundled in one little plastic bag type thing. The health department does require that each individual utensil is wrapped in plastic, or if you have it out for self-serve, if it's facing downward, that's okay. And best of all is if you have one of those dispensers like they have at the rest stops and some other restaurants, where you just press the knob and you get one utensil out at a time in terms of, if they have self-serve. So just wanted to let you know that it's currently in effect. If you want to see what that poster looks like, or you want to see there's another flyer that's directed towards businesses that gives a little more information about the law. All of that can be downloaded from our the Westchester County Gov. Let's see, it's westchestergov.com website.
And I had forwarded Greg, I had forwarded Greg the email with the links, and I will forward it again so that he can send it out to the committee members, so that you'll have access to that. And then don't forget to mention our little video.
Yes, and there's a little video that we did at Rye Ridge Deli and at a place up in Katona where one of my colleagues lives. And so there's a little video explaining about the law, and there's a little cameo of Debbie and me, although you really just see our hair. My hair, you can barely see. But you will certainly recognize Rye Ridge Deli. And I must say the employees were quite tickled that we were filming it there, and the owners were very cooperative and helpful. So I mean, that's the long and the short of it. I just again wanted to let you guys know, because I think, of all the folks in town, you are the ones who might be most interested in following up. And if you do have questions, please reach out to Debbie or me. And if you have suggestions for other things we can do, we're open to that as well. So I think that is the gist. Anything else, Debbie, that you can think of?
No, I think that's it. Our summer intern made an appearance in the video, so that's very exciting, I think, for him.
Yes, he was at Rybrook High School. He just graduated from Rybrook High School.
So that was fun. Yeah, he's a freshman in college this year. And, if you want to help spread the word, when people are ordering online now, all of the apps should be following the guidelines where you have to request, so it should ask you, do you need a fork? Do you need a spoon? It should be a list, just like when they ask you, do you want white rice or brown rice? It should be asking, do you want soy sauce? So everything should be listed individually upon request when you're ordering online. Clearly over the phone, they should be asking you. And, when I've gone into businesses, just if you don't mind mentioning it, if you order something and they're throwing something in the bag, say, by the way, there's a new law in Westchester. Do you know about it? You should look it up. We are working on potentially getting some of the flyers printed out. I don't know whether we're going to do that or not. If we are able to get the flyers printed and any of you would like to help distribute them to some local businesses, in Rybrook, and I know we're not Portchester, but I'm sure they would love our help too. They have a lot more, small businesses in Portchester than we do in Rybrook. So if anybody has some time to maybe walk around and give out the flyers and let some businesses know, that would be great.
Because as far as we are aware, there's not, the county is not reaching out to each individual business. It was in the news, there was a press conference, there was, that kind of outreach, but there wasn't individual outreach to each business. And then I guess as the health department or the Department of Environmental Facilities goes in to do their normal checks that they do, they'll mention, they'll see, if things are not being done correctly, they'll mention it and they'll, direct them to the appropriate website. But they are I understand that the the county's sort of reticent to print these flyers out because it sort of flies in the face of this whole, idea that we're trying to reduce waste. But on the other hand, they have to post it. So somebody's going to have to print it out. And so I personally think, it's not a bad idea for us to kind of walk around and hand them out if the businesses don't have them. But I think it would be good to have the ones that are in Spanish as well. And I don't know if they're going to translate into any other languages, but for sure Spanish.
And two other quick things. One is that, they're really after compliance. It's not meant to be punitive. It's not to punish businesses who aren't following the rules. It's to encourage everybody to change their behavior, obviously, to benefit the environment and reduce waste. And so likewise, not just informing businesses, but informing, friends and neighbors and everybody else. Hey, by the way, you'll need to ask for this. And it's really a win-win piece of legislation. So it's a really easy one to kind of get out there and spread the word on.
Yeah. I mean, the business
kind of exciting to have something that works for everybody. Like there really shouldn't be anybody who's against it, except for, the one person who was expecting to get soy sauce and get it and gets really pissed off. But, you kind of figure like it doesn't take much to say, hey, if you want it, you can get it. Just ask for it. And if you don't want it, that's fine. So I think it's going to really be a positive.
Yeah. And the businesses are the businesses that knew about it and know about it now are supported because it saves them money. They're not just handing out stuff that they don't need to. So, as Debbie said, it's a win-win. It's just a matter of getting the word out. So anything you can do to help would be appreciated, and we'll kind of take a look in a few months and see how it's going. That's it.
Thank you.
Legislative bar, just one thing. So that's something that I could help with, even with flyers too, because I can, not that we have many restaurants, as you both pointed out in Rybrook, we're not Portchester. But that's something I can distribute. You don't have a flyer. Okay, I can always send over a copy, even if it's digitally, to the shopping centers, as well as certain restaurant owners that I know. And then, but the shopping centers, the property managers, I can ask them to distribute it to all the establishments within their centers that it's applicable to make sure that they have that. And it's been even for Portchester, I know the executive director of the local chamber of commerce very well. I have no problem asking Sylvia Dundon, can you please distribute this to any of the members that it's also applicable to?
Yeah,
and she also sent out an email already. Sylvia sent it out. So, we're getting it. And the county should be sending it out to all the chambers countywide. But we're very fortunate in our county, in our district, that we've got a lot of support. So thank you.
The two I can send over directly, because I know
definitely
managers and
the
the
help
other restaurant owners, I have their contact information where I can just email them. Here, this is what you guys need to know.
That's great. I appreciate that. That would be wonderful. So we will send you the info.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions though for Legislator Barr before she has to hop off, or Debbie, regarding this legislation?
An email just popped up just for Nancy to let her know that the link to your next meeting, that looks like they were having problems with the link. So I'm going to forward you the link for Portchester committee meeting. So just use that one. It's going to come through work, but I'll send it to both. Sorry about that, guys. All right.
Okay.
It sounds good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Legislator Barr, for your time.
Thank you.
We
Thank you so much,
and
everybody.
you always coming
Bye,
by to
Nancy.
inform us
Thanks.
of certain things.
Okay, so we don't have too much on the agenda. Actually, we covered the first two really fast. And the last one, Greg, you're the one that's actually sort of coordinating this. I think it'd be better for you to go over the
Yes.
fall cleanup on Bowman.
Sure. So the date that was originally was selected was October 21st. Again, that we do Bowman Avenue. We clean up that road every single year. We have the police to block it off, and then traffic goes through that private road, which 800 Westchester, which just make sure everyone's aware, 800 Westchester is that big white Taj Mahal looking building. And so that is what something that the town coordinates along with the spring cleanup. They have asked some of the other captains and the other municipalities that are participating, which is Portchester Rye, the town by itself, and Mamaroneck, if potentially you can do the 14th and the 15th. I did tell them, look, I would ask my DPW and highway personnel, but right now I can't really say for sure because, as I said, every Saturday we're doing something, and we typically use the highway guys to help out with those events. I said October is a very busy month for us, but I said worst case scenario, the 21st, we'll just do it just for Rybrook if need be. But so we're leaving Rybrook at the 21st handling now. If anyone wants to come, who can come out and make it. Of course, the more hands we have, the quicker that these things get done, and that includes this Saturday. And I do apologize that it was on of course on Rosh Hashanah weekend, but that was the best weekend I was able to get a highway crew again to help us out to get us supplies that we need, including compost and mulch and tools. I'll be supplying gloves, and I'll make sure that we have water as well too for anyone who's participating. But again, I did want to do it early in the morning too, so that way once we're done, everyone can enjoy their Saturday.
I'm sorry. So it's going to be on the 21st, or it might be
So the Bowman cleanup is going to be on October 21st.
on the 21st. Okay.
Yeah. And that too, everything will be supplied, garbage, grabbers, bags, and vests. Everything will be supplied, and gloves will be supplied for you guys. Yeah, and this Saturday, because I know this one was very last minute, it's just trying to coordinate with highway, is the butterfly plant in front of Village Hall. Just so everyone
And
has.
then
Yeah,
I
Bridget?
think the last thing on the agenda was the old business, and that's also you, Greg, for Sustainable Westchester program.
Yes, so I just wanted to do a quick recap on this. So I don't know how many of you are in the Rybrook residence page, or I know pretty much all of you are probably subscribed to the newsletter. So Chris and I, as well, in coordination with the mayor, we'll be able to put out or again the email release, which I put on the residence page, basically stipulating where we are at the Westchester Sustainable Westchester ESCO program that's went into effect November 1st of 2022. So there's been some confusion about it in terms of how it works, some disappointment in terms of the discrepancy of the prices between Constellation Energy, which is the supplier that Stable Westchester negotiate with, and Con Ed rates that we have now. So I want to just do a little bit of recap, just so we all are aware again exactly and how the program works and the stipulations within it. So the Stable Westchester, they're a consortium of they're based in Mount Kisco, but most of the municipalities, including Rybrook, are enrolled in this community choice aggregation program, where again we basically enroll our residents. Again, everyone's automatically enrolled unless you chose to opt out when Stable Westchester sent out letters around last fall. And basically, you're in the program where you're in your Constellation Energy is your supplier, and you can either choose the standard rate or the green rate, which promotes green electric energy. And this only, again, applies to electric energy. This does not cover gas whatsoever. So it's a 2-year program that was effective November 1st, 2022, and it's a fixed rate. So it can't go up or down, but the purpose of this is twofold. It's to be environmentally friendly, promote green energy, as well as to give all the residents that are enrolled in the program some price stability. As opposed to Con Edison's rates, they fluctuate. They can go up, they can go down, but this is fixed. At least everyone has that certainty. Now, over the last few months, it has come to our attention that Con Edison's rate is at the moment lower than what Stable Westchester rate is. And I do want to emphasize this, that Con Edison, as well as other suppliers, even not just in Rybrook or Westchester, but all over the country, were announcing again last summer when this was being negotiated that they were expecting huge price increases for a number of reasons. I mean, including the fact that the geopolitical, which would be the war between Russia and Ukraine. I'm not going to get into the whole backstory with that, but the reality is that Russia has been historically a major energy supplier to the entire planet, as well as other different factors that were causing concern about price hikes. That price hikes, of course, have not happened. There was a couple of reasons of those, meaning that we had a very warm winter last year, which that prices didn't have to rise. That was the main one among other reasons. But kind of as I said, it can go up or it can go down, but you do have the opportunity within the state of Westchester program to opt in and opt out at any time. Now, it may take about a month or two, which is a billing cycle, for you to see those changes in your bill, but at least in that regard, it's very user friendly. So the best way to do it, you can either call them or you can email them. Now, they did say that the calls line can get backed up at times, with the email maybe a little bit quicker. And I will send you all that email just so you have it for your records. And or you can do it yourself. So I'm just going to share my screen just on their website. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Okay. So we're going to go to programs, or here, Westchester Power Program. Opt in, opt out supply. And like I said, you have the standard supply rate, the green supply rate. And these are all municipalities that are in. But let's just say again, you're kind of the same, which pretty much mostly everyone in Rybrook is. I mean, I don't know of anybody who's in Rybrook who is NYSEG. Yonkers has some own individual program, but I'm not really sure how they have that arrangement. But that's something that any of you guys need to worry about, or any residents in Rybrook need to worry about. And these are the current rates they have here, as well as the 100% renewable and the standard supply. Scroll down. Just 1 second, I'm trying to find it. Blurred on my screen for some reason, so I don't know why it's doing that, but I'll try to go back to it. But I do want to show you guys like the rates as well, so that way you guys can currently see them, because they do keep them on their website.
While you're looking for that, Greg, my understanding, I think in July that a rate increase was approved for Con Ed. So I know earlier they were trending lower than this negotiated rate, but I didn't know I think the rate went into effect in August, and I thought it was like another 9%. I don't know where that puts us.
It could be. Even so, that means state of Westchester still is a little bit more expensive at the moment. I believe like the rate at the last time I checked, like a week or two ago. Again, I don't know why it's not coming on my computer at the moment for whatever reason. It was like 10 cents per kilowatt, as opposed to either the 13% the standard or the 15% for the renewable energy through state of Westchester program. And again, that may not be reflected in the August numbers. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
But I just wanted to, again, just do a little recap so everyone is aware of what the program is and where they can go if they have any questions.
And another thing that's important to note on this, and I looked recently because I had a question from a neighbor of mine, and I was looking at my bill, is that the negotiator, it's just electric supply.
Yes, that's what I said.
And it's not the taxes and the service fees and all the other things. So the cents difference in whatever it was, 13.4 cents to 11 cents, or whatever the 2 cent, 3 cent difference in the rate, it makes you think that, oh, you're going to be paying, if you just opt in and don't do anything, then it feels like you're paying a lot more. But when you take a look at your bill and you parse out gas and you parse out service fees and you parse out tax and you parse out delivery, you parse out everything else, and you only look at what that rate applies to, it's actually a really, really small number. So you're not talking about generally hundreds of dollars on your bill with this rate differential between the negotiated rate through Sustainable Westchester and the Con Ed rate. You're talking about, like, I don't want to say pennies, maybe it's a few dollars, but I had done the math over the summer, and it was really much less concerning than I thought it would be for people who are concerned about the high rate, So you can feel good about contributing to clean energy, without feeling that it's going to cost you hundreds of dollars every month to do so. So I
Yeah,
think that was an
correct.
important thing to remind people. And within the Sustainable Westchester program also, you can opt into getting your energy from, not from clean energy, but from the standard energy sources to lower that rate slightly also.
Yes,
And
they have the two rates, exactly.
Right.
And you can opt into either one of those, or you can opt in and out of the program, both the entire Sustainable Westchester program altogether, and you can choose to opt it back in whenever you choose to. But as I said, it just may take a month or two because that's when their billing cycle is before you start to see the effect. So it just won't happen overnight, but it is very user-friendly in that regard. Again, so as Debbie said, it only does cover electric power and doesn't take into like all the costs that Con Edison may take into. Again, Con Edison's rate, and also at some point maybe a more expensive than Sustainable Westchester, but it really isn't much of when you break it down, not much of a huge difference. But again, for some, if you still want to opt out of the program, or you can at least, again, you have options. You can opt out of the green, go to standard, or you can opt out for temporarily and opt back in when it does, at least the prices start to converge at least a little bit more. But again, I just wanted to give everyone a little bit update on that. That's where we are currently. And again, we don't, as a village, we don't get, of course, get any more heads up on the prices than you guys do. But we definitely just want to, I guess, keep everybody informed. And the village just again, we can't do it because I've spoken to residents. We can't do this course month by month because we don't know what's going to happen. But at least periodically, just to let everybody know, to the best of our knowledge, what's going on with the energy because of cost.
Will there be information sent out to residents, like with updates on this, or is it just?
So just basically what it, when the administrator, Chris Bradbury, sent out the newsletter, I put it in the residents page as an update. You can see, just keep a lookout for sporadic notifications like that. Again, we can't do them too often because again, we need to allow time gaps to see, what the rates are going to be like a few months from now. Because again, like a month or even 2 months is not really a long enough time to really kind of ascertain if that's going to be a pattern. And if Sustainable Westchester does like more like informational forums, then of course we will continue to notify the residents through our like website, social media channels, newsletter, and including residents page, etc. But just one other thing though too. So I'm in the process of trying to do this. For those of you who know John Mugno is the one resident who is host of the Right Focus program. So I coordinate that with him. So one of the things we are trying to do, since we're on this topic, is do a focus program with Con Edison that they can give us like energy saving tips, ways residents can save money on their bill, and they can reduce some of their energy, I guess, output. So that's something that, again, I'll be saying once we do it, hopefully, again, nothing's been confirmed yet, and we're in the beginning stages of that, but hopefully if everything works out and we get that done, I will, and I always put them like on our social media pages, and I started to put them in the residence page now that I'm in there. I'll also put that out there as kind of like a PSA for everyone to look at if it can be a little bit beneficial for you guys. But does anybody have any questions about that either myself or that Debbie, that what she added, which is very helpful about the program, Sustainable Westchester program?
Not about that program, but I have to say the Grid Rewards app has a lot of helpful tips. And so I've gone in there and I've definitely looked at everything in there, but they have a lot of good tips if you're looking for something to kind of pick up the sound bites.
Yeah, you can save quite a lot with the Grid Rewards. I know they used to have the electric car one, and I used to get like $60 a month for like charging in the off-peak times instead, but they discontinued that. But they said they're going to do a new program, but then they haven't really released it, I don't think, yet. So there's all sorts of programs. I think that's all on Con Ed's website, actually, usually. Okay. Did you have anything else, Greg, or did you want to move on to, I guess the only thing I was going to mention is we might want to start thinking about leaves and what we're going to do like informationally for that, because October is coming. So maybe brainstorming some ideas. And I don't know if the village is planning anything, because I know they were going to do all of the handouts But maybe, you know, we might want to look at them and just see what they're going to put together for the handouts for the residents, because of course, you know, I've already started to see some leaves falling. I'm like, oh, okay. So now would be a good time to start to inform people that aren't informed, and also give them ideas of like what you can do with leaves, like put them in your flower beds, you can mulch them into the grass, you know, things along those lines. So I definitely think the sooner the better with giving out that information. Although that's not really on us to do, you know, but we can still like give input. So I think maybe if Greg knows anything about plans for that, maybe we can like email ideas or just see like outlines of what's going to be sent out and give any input before it hopefully gets finalized.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think what we did last year, and I know that Ashley gave me some information that she asked me, which we did distribute through our newsletter. So I'll speak with the administrator if there's any plans. I'm not aware of any. But again, if the committee does put together anything, I will make sure it's distributed through our channels so it reaches as many people as possible. And since you are on that topic, again, just as a reminder, I mean, we do have green waste every Wednesday as part of our sanitation pickup, with the exception of when there's holidays. So then the company that we have, which is CRP Sanitation, that does the sanitation pickup for us, they don't pick up one during holiday weeks. But from October to December, and again, the Public Works Department coordinates this. That's when we our highway personnel go around with the big leaf truck to vacuum it off your lawn. So just keep a lookout for that when the schedules will be released.
And Greg, can you perhaps give us an update? I know I saw a headline in the Westmore News. I do not believe I read the article. I believe that perhaps two exemptions were given for properties that do not need to abide by the new law that applied for exemptions and I think 2 properties received exemptions, but I'm not, again, I didn't know. Do you have that information, and can you update us if you do?
Because I'm the one that the applications go to, and then I'm present at the board meetings. So again, 2 properties have gone so far. One is going, the first HOA is going, but the 2 properties that Debbie's referring to is the Portchester School District and Washington Park Plaza. So what the board just decided to do is that issue just 1-year exemption, so they're not permanent. So basically, just give them an extra year, and then we'll revisit it in October of 2024, because that's when this restrictions are from May 1st to October 1st. So that's what the trustees have decided to do, just for those 2 properties at this time. Now, I can't predict how they're going to rule on the other applicants going forward. And a couple of them have told me that they're not going to apply because they don't need to; they're eligible. But that's where we are at the moment with those. But those are the only 2 that have so far gone before the board.
I'm sorry, can you repeat? So it was the Portchester School District at Washington Park, and then it was an HOA. That was the
Well, an HOA is going up at the next meeting, is what they told me.
Okay.
But that they would like to be on that one. They'll be the first HOA. So the other 2 properties again were the Washington Park Plaza, which again, they're just so everyone's aware, that's one of the 2 shopping centers that we have, and the Portchester School District, because remember, even though we have 2 in Rye Brook, because while but most of our residents, of course, go to the Rye Brook School District, about 30% of households are in the Portchester School District, and the middle school is entirely within Rye Brook, and part of the high school is, and actually our police department has jurisdiction over the high school. So I mean, most of the high school's green space was in Portchester, so I really focused more on the middle school. But that's so far what the board has decided.
And was the discussion for the shopping center, was it more of like they need the time to transition, and then hopefully next year, was that sort of
Yeah, so that's why they only decided to do 1 year, so that way they can revisit it, and after where they are in 1 year, because again, and just so everyone remembers, it has to be at least 5 acres of property in order to qualify, which would be like in some of the HOAs that we have, the shopping centers, the school districts, and a couple other like properties like cerebral palsy of Westchester, and some of like the Atria and King Street Rehab, and 800 Westchester, but 800 Westchester told me that they're not applying, and the St. Mary Cemetery told me the same thing, that they, as of now, that they are not going to apply. And there are a couple other properties, including Hilton and Doral Hourwood, that really have not given me a clear answer what they're going to do. But again, it's just for 1 year and they'll revisit it in 2024, but it's not permanent. Like that's not in like forever.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you for that update. That's great.
Thank you.
Yes, and again, as of now, though, like they're not looking to issue like forever exemptions because like even they still have the view overall that that like, in time again everyone's going to have to adapt to it at some point because as the mayor said at the last meetings that look residents, most of the residents who live in properties don't have 5 acres are being expected to implement or at least to deal with this local law come May 1st.
Okay, great. Yeah. So that was the last item on the agenda, unless anybody had anything else they wanted to add. We can, Greg, you didn't have anything else, right?
I just throw it out there, just one thing just to start thinking about is I know we have like our event during the Saturday, one October 21st to 14th, but if just brainstorm out there if you guys want to do any other sort of events. We're not just limited of course to the fall or like a spring or summer. If you want to do something like indoors during the winter, just something to think about in terms of if there's anything else that you guys want to potentially discuss, even if we don't have any ideas now, but maybe for the next meeting, just start thinking if there's anything else that other than what we typically do that the committee may want to consider.
Right.
Great.
Hey, Greg, is there an update on the butterfly garden in Rye Hills?
Sure. So last year, I put in a grant for it. Unfortunately, we did not win. Now, I spoke to the grant writer. He said that he could put it in again for us. So, which I will ask. I can follow up with him on that. Where if he did and where we are in that application process. I mean, it won't be a decision for a few months now, but I did ask him to put it in again. So hopefully, we can get funding for it to revitalize that butterfly garden.
And
But
one big issue with that too is maintenance. Like we're seeing with this pollinator circle, is just there has to be like continuous maintenance on it. Or else it, invasives come in and things sometimes do if you want a certain look to it. I mean, granted, you can plant more of like a field sort of thing, but if you want it to have a certain look, like you do have to maintain parts of it. And so that's been a little bit of an issue, just like having enough people to like actually care for the garden on a continuous basis. So I think we'd have to probably figure that out first and like get some volunteers signed up to like do that during the warmer months. But we can cross that bridge once we actually have money to, do that.
Exactly.
So
I mean, that space in Rye Hills isn't a very large garden, so I think it would be manageable. And I could almost see it from my backyard, so I definitely volunteer for that.
yeah,
Once we get the money there.
Yeah, it could definitely be a great secondary garden for us. Definitely if we can handle it and get it done. So I guess we just have to see what happens.
Yeah, and since we're on that, since Frankie brought that up in terms of, and I also just want to give an update on the food compost kits. You remember that this was several months ago. We had the company from Canada that came and spoke about those products. Now it's looking like good news, but I haven't really made it public or even notified the company of which a food cycle compost of it yet because I kind of don't want to jinx it. But long story short, the grant writer told us that it was a grant filed through the DEC, so New York Department of Environmental Conservation. And what he told us is this was effective last month of August, is that any day now, I mean, that day hasn't come yet, but we should be getting official notification that that we won some grant funding to help cover those costs. So it'll cover most of the cost. And so we put in for 100 kits, so 50 of each model. So as I said, that's what we were told, that we should be getting official confirmation that we won. But to me, it's not a reality until I get that email from the state that it's official. So hopefully when I do get that email, again, you guys will be the first ones that I send it to. So because if any of you guys are interested, I definitely want you guys to have the first crack at it.
Great. That's awesome news.
But like I said, we've been told just verbally, but I don't have any official documentation or email, or I haven't gotten a call from the state telling us that we officially won. But according to what the grant writer said is that whoever's contacted the DEC, who we spoke to over there, is that you can let the village know, which being the administrator and myself, that any day now they can expect an official confirmation of an award.
That's exciting. Thank you.
Do you know how much the kits will be with that grant funding?
So
And-
that's actually a good question. So and then I will get back to that because there with the DEC actually this virtually never happened. So I actually asked the grant writer to double check on this because it's one of those things that sounded good too good to be true. But the DEC was actually offering even more funding apparently than what we requested for. So with that extra funding, it's going to, because the original application that we put in for was to have it where the grant in the village covered half and the resident covered half. And again, we wanted the residents to have at least some sort of stake in it because that way we don't want people to say they want one and then they don't pick it up because as the village will be stuck with it, which would not be fun or cool whatsoever. But that formula is going to be changed a little bit, so there actually will be less resident contribution. So long story short, as a resident, you guys are going to get a very good deal on this one time around. So definitely, again, it'll be first come, first serve. I'm sure when I hopefully, and I keep saying hopefully because as I said, I don't consider it official until I get that notification because and not that I'm not saying that that we're going to get an email saying that it's not reality, but again, it's just I'm hesitant to really kind of put it out there into the broader public as well as our food cycle compost, letting them know until I got that official notification in writing.
And I'm assuming it'll be limited to like one per household sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll figure out those details, but probably because again, I want to be as fair as possible. But I mean, if there's 100 kits, and if we don't get like a takers for all of them, then me personally, I'm happy just to have, if someone wants to, by all means, if you want one of each model. But definitely at least I get at least as many people as possible get one. But as I said, if we get no takers for some of them, then again, then we can go back to the drawing board if anybody who got one wants a second one. But again, I don't know how. Once I coordinate with a food cycle compost, once we get the notification, then I can kind of try to iron out those details with them. But right now, I'm just excited for those funds. That's what I'm really waiting for. You know, each day I'm wondering, am I going to get the confirmation? Get the confirmation. So I'm hoping that again, the best I can say is that hopefully sooner rather than later, I get that email or I get that phone call, or we may get that letter from the state.
Awesome. Well, now there'll be no excuses about, oh, I don't want to take it or whatever, because they're like, see, you can do it at home. Look how easy. That'll be really nice to offer to people, because I know they are really expensive. So
Yeah, they're not cheap. So they did this was back in around May, I believe. So they actually have been working with the city of Rye too, and they came. It was at Rye Middle School where they had some different vendors come, and they were one of the vendors. So I got to meet them in person. And I'll be completely honest, I don't remember too much about it because I was there. They did show it to me, but I do remember that it is very cool and it is very intuitive how the kits work. And but I will definitely have them, of course, try to come up here to at least once to do like some sort of demo, if any, at some point, to so that way they can show again whoever got one or maybe interested in one, even if you and that's even if someone didn't get one at this time, if they want to buy it in the future from them. They at least have that demo, at least can see how they work up close. But you did say they are very expensive, so we're definitely very excited for this grant funds to come in. So that way, again, it'll be a lot more cost effective for anybody who wants one to get one, at least this one time around.
great. Thank you, Greg. Okay, well, if that's it, I think we can adjourn the meeting, and it looks like the next meeting will be, October 12th.
Yes, I will be away again. You guys can go without me, so I just put that down tentatively. If you guys want to do like the first Thursday, it's just I won't be here. To be a part of it. But again, if you guys please don't want to, I'm happy to give you access to the Zoom, or if you'd rather just me, again.
No, that's actually the second Thursday, I think. So we
No, it is. The 12th is the second. I put it down because the first Thursday I won't be here.
okay, sorry, I was confused. I thought you meant the 12th. You weren't going to be here. No, I think the 12th, for me, it's fine. I don't know if it's okay with everybody else, but I think hopefully it would go smoother because sometimes the Zoom doesn't want to work and then we're all trying to get in. So I would say let's just keep it on the 12th then.
Yeah, and I would just ask this from you guys too. I mean, pretty much everyone did this tonight, but just going forward though too. If you guys can't make a meeting, which is totally fine. Again, you guys are all volunteers, so again, I don't expect you guys to be here every single Thursday. But just let me know in the email because I just want to make sure that we have a quorum. Again, even though we are an advisory committee, I mean, the meeting really doesn't have much legitimacy out of 8 active members if only 2 of you show up. So I always like to at least have at least 4 RSVP to order to conduct or a meeting.
Okay, great.
But that's it for me. Again, unless anybody else wants to raise anything, of course we can adjourn. But I would ask if you all can just stay on. Just I will stop the recording just for a few seconds afterwards. So I'm assuming then, but that silence that nobody else has anything they want to raise. Okay, good. So I'm just going to stop the recording. Again, I just need you guys for like another minute or two. Then of course I'll let you guys go.